Hey, what's up, everyone? Rob Brinded here. I'm going to be talking everything mind body. My body's looking a bit red right now. If you're listening to the podcast, which is podcast number 7, um, yeah. So description: my face is very red as it's February here in Madeira, and I spent yesterday and today out with the kids, and it is boiling, and the sun has suddenly started to hit a little bit harder. So glad I had my hat on, even though I'm still red. Right. So today I'm going to be talking about again real life examples of Zen or mastery over the mind, or kind of spirituality. But I'm always interested in results, no fluff, no fancy terms or anything. It's just how do I get results? How do I, how am I free? How can I be free from my mind in real time when I'm under duress? Now, that is my thing. That's what I like doing. If you like, lots of spiritual references to gurus, and you're into all the spiritual jargon, my stuff's not for you. I'm just uh, uh, if it's not maybe very intellectually stimulating, I think it is, but I don't use lots of fancy spiritual words and psychological stuff. I'm not interested in adding anything to you or to me. I'm interested in taking away and getting results. You get results by taking stuff away and making things more and more simple. So inside your mind, it's a de-engineering job. Yeah. Is why I like jujitsu, because there's no fluff. Like, the reason I remember getting into Brazilian jiu-jitsu the first time is because they had all these different, martial arts, and they had all of these kung fu masters who taught stuff based on beliefs, and it when it came up against like the cold hard truth of mixed martial artists punching, fighting a kung fu master that no one would dare question. And it turns out the guy it was all fluff and bullshit, really. And I've seen that so much in my career. It's just so much bullshit in this space. It's why I like Bitcoin, because it's just truth, maths, physics, no bullshit. Web3 is bullshit. So there's a lot of Web3 in the spiritual world, in my opinion. So if you like Web3 and that kind of fluff, then there's loads of people for you to check out, but it's not going to be me. That's not where I roll. So I wanted to bring you to, and another thing, just I'm a little bit of a rant, but I want people to realize there's no such thing as gurus. And if again we use like mixed martial arts analogy, is when you go in a cage, there's no one that's unbeatable. Even if you're the best, you could have a bad day and get caught. So it's the same with these gurus. They're just fallible humans as well. They have a mind. The gurus who go and sit in a cave their whole life, well, they should go and spend a few weeks with, or even a weekend with some 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, and see how their guruness stands up. It's easy again to take yourself out of life and numb yourself. These guys that sit with their arm up in the air for their whole life, and people think they're spiritual. And if you watch what they're doing, they just smoke weed all day. So they just numb themselves out of the pain. It's one way to live, but it's not truthful. So yeah. So coming back to this idea that there's no such thing as a guru. So, and that's why I like telling people about my situations where I'm very unguru-ish. So I went for a deep tissue massage last week. I haven't been for ages. I really need it. I felt beaten up. And I normally go at 10 o'clock in the morning because I know there's no one there. And it's a small little studio, so there's like two beds, so there could be another person in there. So I like to go when there's no one around, I can sleep or I kind of meditate, chill out. And so I arrive and it's all good. And then with about 20 minutes gone, I hear the door bell ding and a guy comes in. I could tell immediately just by the way he's noisy. Well, I could tell he was tall for some reason, but I never saw him. But he was German and he was just not to the point, and it was a lot of noise, a lot of fuss. So he comes down the stairs, and I'm kind of okay. I'm chilling. It's just he's like, "Oh, this is very nice," in his, "Oh, this is very nice," in his German accent. Not good at accents, as you know. And so he's just banging and making, and then he says, "Do I pay? Do I pay now?" And the woman wasn't, her English isn't very good, and she said, "Pay," as in question mark, pay. And then she moves away, and he follows her all the way up again. He's supposed to pay afterwards. So I'm like, oh. And then he comes down again, down the stairs, boom, boom, boom. And I hear him say, "I have an hour and a half." So I know that he's there the whole of my massage. I'm like, okay, just breathe and just calm. It's okay. So the thing that starts bothering me is when he's having a massage, he starts talking to her and starts going, "Oh, that's so good. Oh, yeah, 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 that's so good." And kind of groaning and loud. So this is where the rubber hits the track. So there I am. I want to enjoy my massage, but he's bothering me. So he's bothering me, but it's bothering something in me. It's so let me say it again. He's bothering me in air quotes, but it's something in me I know that's getting triggered by his behavior. Because if I was free and mindless with no mind, his noises will have just pass straight through me. Like it's my beliefs and triggers that get bothered by the way he's behaving, and that riled me up and created emotions within me. Yeah. So first of all, I take full responsibility for my behavior in that moment. That's first principles. Nothing anyone can do can affect you, but it was affecting me, means it's my responsibility. So what I started to do was starting to observe my own behavior. And there's observation. So the way I do that is I start to look at what's bothering, what thoughts are coming up, what am I getting bothered about? So what I started to see and what I'm looking for is a pattern. So I call my work hamster wheels. Like it's like a concept of seeing this. If you imagine a hamster wheel, um, and you have a word, two words, opposite words on either side to describe a conversation you're having. So what was coming up was unable, able. Like I was unable to be relaxed. He was unable to keep his mouth shut. When I started to look a bit deeper, I realized that I felt unable to tell him to be quiet. So I started to observe that. So I realized there's a software running inside of me, able and unable. And I started to go, why? So yeah, it was conversation like this. I should tell him to be quiet. I'm going to tell him to be quiet. And I getting more and more angry until I can, say it. And then part of me is like, yeah, but don't like, he's not really doing anything wrong. And it's kind of, I'm, I'm telling him what to do. And there's this backwards and forwards, like able and unable. Um, and then I started so I'm looking at that. I see this backwards and forwards. And then I realize actually, I'm worried about telling him something in case he gets angry or says something back at me that hurts me. So I'm just being honest. This is what I'm seeing. I know people who would just immediately go, "Hey, shut your mouth." People relaxing here, and I have done it in the past, but right now I wasn't. So what I realized looking at it was, I was like, why don't I tell him? Why would he get angry if I'm just stating my needs? So my needs are, hey, I'm just trying to relax him, be quiet. It's supposed to be quiet. That's kind of the rules. It's quiet, relaxing. Would you mind keeping the noise down? Because I'm finding it difficult to relax with you making noise. So I'm stating my need. I want my need met. But in stating that, I'm thinking that I shouldn't state my needs because he will get um, disrespected or angered. And the deeper I started to look at it, I thought, wow, I'm valuing his experience more than I'm valuing mine. So now I'm getting to the deepest sort of operating system level type thought, valuing. So I followed that thinking through a little bit and I thought, well, so that means if I value myself and state my needs, I devalue him. I'll say that again. So if I value my needs being met, I think about, I want peace and quiet, I'm going to value myself. Then I'm thinking that me saying that is in some way going to be disrespectful and devalue him, and he will get angry. So and if I break it down even further, me for me to get my needs met is I need to devalue others. Or at the time, I was thinking there's something just very basic there, in that I would prefer to devalue myself than devalue someone else, and that if I try and get my needs met, I devalue others. Like putting boundaries in place devalues others, and it's rude and disrespectful, and that's my conditioning. That takes me back to my family, where if I say my opinion or anything, it's usually met with a big argument. There's arguments always in my family, and so this it's just a conditioning around your needs being met and boundaries. And so, and I think maybe it's also a little bit of a British thing, putting your boundaries in place. And the British are known for never complaining in a restaurant. Where you go to America and they'll immediately say, "Hey, this isn't good enough." But the British always go, "Oh, this is great," and then afterwards, slag it off. So there's some cultural conditioning there and deeper conditioning. So it might sound complicated, but it's just a step by step. I'm watching my thoughts, and then I'm observing them and thinking about those thoughts. Like, okay, that means that I would prefer to devalue myself, and then devalue, or I think I'm devaluing him, which all I'm doing is valuing myself. And I just observed this play between value and devaluing in my thoughts, and 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 also the hamster wheel of unable able. That was, I'm unable to state my needs. um Being able makes others unable. Me stating my needs, he's going to make him unable and he'll be angry. So um it was an awesome experience. And what the outcome was of observing that is I calmed down. One, I took responsibility for that. It's my thing. It's nothing to do with his behavior. Two, I observed my thoughts and understood the software and the trigger that was happening, why. And so I shone light into darkness. And in doing so, it dissolved it. It calmed it right down there. So there was two probable outcomes for me freeing myself somewhat, especially in that moment of that program running. I would either then tell him to be quiet, or it wouldn't bother me anymore. Do you see? It's not like you just then you don't action, you via non-actioning, which is the observation, then you will action. And my action was I just lay there and he made noises and stuff. It had no effect on me. I really enjoyed the massage. I actually felt some fondness towards him because he was just a really nice guy in the end. And that is freedom. So if I had, and I see this a lot with certain clients, when it comes to boundaries, if I in my head thought, wow, he's disrespecting me and my peace of calm, or if you're in a relationship, he's just she's disrespecting me. And then you think, oh, I need to support myself. I'm gonna put my boundaries in and then I'm going to show them, or I need to support myself, put boundaries in. You're still reacting to the conditioning and you're reinforcing the behavior. So oftentimes when in a relationship, someone starts putting in boundaries based on a reaction to their thinking, they it creates more problems. And so what I did was it was that Taoist principle of wu wei, or non doing, effortless doing. So I just watched my behavior, I saw the truth, and then it dissolved. And that is the game. That is the internal combat, so to speak, or and I say to my students quite often this analogy of you're in a dojo. When I was lying there, I'm in my head, it's like a dojo. Your opponent is your mind. If you react to the thoughts of the mind and the emotions that are triggered from them, if you react to that, you lose. Or there's you imagine a huge sort of Ronin samurai monster. If you stay really calm, they they'll swing and nothing happens to you. But if you react, the mind catches you and it's painful. So it's externally, it's all about actioning and engineering things, but internal, it's a de-engineering. It's an observation. In that observation, it slices through any of your monsters. You beat the monsters in the mind, and your insecurities and your doubts and your judgments and everything, you defeat them, you dissolve them via simply observing them, understanding that they are conditioned software programs that are being passed down through generations. Then they are not you. So that step where I took the responsibility, that's taking full responsibility, is a superpower, I suppose. And so after the massage, I walked upstairs, had a little chuckle, paid for my massage with Bitcoin in Sats, which is cool. And then I said to them, I said, "Oh, that guy down there, the guy who'd already gone, he was a noisy. He liked to talk a lot." And they said, "Yeah, we're so sorry." So I knew at the time that they didn't want to say anything because Thai people are very understanding and caring, and uh, and they said, "So sorry." And I said, "No, no, no. He was my teacher." And I explained. I said, at that moment, it started to bother me. And so he enabled me to see what was inside of me, to heal, resolve, that by understanding. And they all got it. Like there was no, if I told other, uh, Portuguese or English people, or whatever, that's what I did, they would be looked confused. But because they're Buddhist, they understand that concept of, you know, um, meditation, the spirituality of it, which is the deeper understanding. I always, it's just me, but I always have a little bit of trouble using that word spirituality. Maybe I'll just stop using it. but in real time in that moment, it was a beautiful moment because I was able to move beyond my conditioned mind into a freer, more whole experience. And that's all I care about. That's why we're here on this planet, is to realize that there's heaven. We're living heaven, but a lot of people are in hell because of their minds. And that mind um, and the hamster wheels that spin out the emotions that we're constantly feeling, and the judgment, doubts, and the emotions that come with them, that they filter into our bodies. We experience them in our bodies, and the energy lines become distorted, so they create stagnation in the energy flows of the body. And those energy flows, you could call them meridians. We know now that probably the whole mitochondrial system is the meridian system, and it'll just be a matter of time before the West catches up. They're just a few thousand years late. The Western science catch up that there's this electrical system in the body, but those emotions wreck our bodies, and they age us and limit us and cause all sorts of dis-eases in the body. So mind, and then working on the body, I use an energy protocol, which is instant resolution of most things. Again, based on the Taoist principles of one and zeros, or yin yang, or strong and weak energy. So we are very much like computers. Um, we have to understand what is running the computer. We also have to understand how that software affects the sort of physical intelligence and this biocomputer that we have, connected. And in understanding that, you will learn to be free and live a complete, fulfilled, high-performant life. Because at the end of the day, you want to perform high or have high performance in enjoying yourself. You want to do things well and enjoy yourself while you're here, because you've only got one life. So I'll wrap up that. I'm wondering what to call this episode. Something like uh, and then the German guy started to groan. Maybe that'll get people to click. All right. Well, anyway, listen, if you like this, I'd appreciate you could share it with other people. That'd be cool. No problems if not. If you like it, that'd be great. If you liked it, it helps me share this message, which I think is the most important thing I can do with my time on the planet. All right. So thanks everyone. Have a great rest of the day wherever you are, and speak to you all soon.